That felt good to me. That felt good to me. I thought to myself as I was sitting in the seat that I wanted to do one of those moments, right? In yoga, we do this thing, we call it lion's breath. We inhale really big. I saw it on Ted Lasso, too. I was like, Ted Lasso has it. And I was just like thinking to myself, like, how great that is when we start to remember. We remember who we are, y'all. Sometimes we forget. Sometimes we forget. Can you imagine? Oh, y'all know I'm all over the page, so I'm detouring. I pivot, right? It's all good. So can you imagine that the moment when we were birthed and we come through that birth canal and we come out in that first breath, it's like we're inspiriting. We are inhalating into that body, into that presence. And there we think we gotta stay. But y'all, I cannot be bound by this. I might even visit y'all in y'all's dreams, right? Because my spirit goes out and I get excited about it. So blessings, greetings, everybody. Hey, if this is y'all's first encounter with me, it's okay, because I pivot a lot, right? And so one moment I be bouncing over here, and then the next moment in consciousness, I'm somewhere else totally. So it's all good. Just stay with me. Seatbelts, please, right? All right, so where do I want to start? I already started, really. But here's where I want to start, because today I wanted to talk about this idea of the belly of the whale. The belly of the whale. And as I started thinking about it, it's not even a whale. It was called a big fish, right? And so I love story. You know, I love to kind of dive into a story and see what it has for me. And so I revisit the story of Jonah and the whale often because I resonate with it. As all of us do, right, Reverend? I resonate with this story. Jonah was really a prophet of sorts, right? And he was given this message to go to Nineveh and tell these people, if you don't straighten out your act, right? If you don't straighten out your act, God is just going to decimate this whole place. And so, you know, Jonah was like, people deserve to be decimated. Y'all know how we get stuck in our judgments about stuff. I don't know if y'all ever do, but we get stuck, right? We're judging everybody and everything. And so Johnny was like, them people don't deserve to be spared. And besides that, I can go over there and say what I'm saying to these people, and they're going to do what they want to do anyway. I always paraphrase, right? I put this in because this is how it goes. This is how we understand things, how we comprehend things. So he's like, I'm not doing that. So he decided he was going to go to a different spot. Now, I will tell y'all, I have been in this situation so many times, because one of the things that I sit there and think is I don't know that they're worthy of my, sometimes it's, I don't know that you're worthy of my tears. I don't know that you're worthy of such and such, right? Because I'm looking at it like coming up out of this stuff, this is divine milk that we give. And so, like Jonah, sometimes we think that we can't give of this divine milk. But we wouldn't have it if it wasn't for us to give. So who am I to say I'm not going to give of this, right? It's like, so often we do that, right? I'm not going to sing because I don't know that anybody will pay me enough for what I think my voice is worth. Or I'm not going to go out and perform or dance or do my magic. I'm not going to live the life that was meant for me because we're judging other people when we're not recognizing that our gift, if we don't share it, will burn us up from the inside. Y'all know I talk about that all the time, so I'm not going to stay there. But Jonah was like, I'm not going to tell these people that. And so he decided, I'm going to go someplace else. And so he gets on a ship, heading in a different direction. Y'all remember this story. He's going to head in a whole different direction. And so what happens? Like always, when we go against what it is that we're directed and guided to do, a storm comes up. Now, I don't know about any of y'all. If you're caught in a storm, you might start to ask yourself, what's the storm about? Right? And sometimes I will tell you, it doesn't take a lot to kind of start investigating what's the storm about. What does the storm look like, right? Sometimes we don't recognize that there is this part of us that goes through life without actually feeling anything. You know that part of you that just seems like it's dead and it died somewhere along the way and you don't quite know why? Sometimes you don't have feeling anymore. It doesn't seem like the world is alive or animated anymore. Sometimes it's because we're playing way too small for the gifting that we've been granted. And so the only way to wake it back up is to figure out where we went left when we should have went right. I'm going to let that breathe for a second. Right? Because sometimes what we know is that the very thing that we hear, we're hearing on purpose because there is something that we haven't quite done, and it's never too late to do it. So Jonah goes in the other direction. I'm going to go over here. Storm comes up. He's caught in the storm. People are wondering, what's up with this storm? And Jonah's like, I can tell you what a storm is, right? I'm the purpose of the storm. And so he throw me overboard. I mean, if you want to save yourselves, throw me overboard. And so, of course, that's what they did. Y'all know how that goes. Threw him overboard. Now, the funny thing is we call it a whale. It was called a great fish in the book. And there's a part of us that might think that this great fish came to maybe swallow him, eat him in the belly. But wonder if, let me go Joseph Campbell on you for a minute. So we know that water and the ocean represents the subconscious. Now, I started thinking about this today. Like, there's a lot of things it seems like we can go underneath. I love analogies that kind of layer on meaning onto certain things, right? What does the ground or dirt represent? That matter, that compacted earth. But we know that above or beneath the ground is way more life than is above the ground. I mean, if you just think about all the beautiful worms and all the beautiful bugs that have their existence and they seem to be able to get under there and do what they need to do effortlessly, right? They are able to exist underground, but if we underground, we dead. Well, unless, of course, you in a cave or something like that. That, too, is an analogy that has a powerful kind of, symbolism in itself. I love stuff like this. It fascinates my mind. But the ocean is a bit different because, we in the womb, we're in water. We float in water. When we give birth, that water breaks. We come out. Inhale, we have life, all of that stuff. But this idea of water, when you are submerged, it is representative of the subconscious. Fish represent ideas. And so Jonah is thrown overboard into this water, and the big fish comes not to kill him, but to rescue him in a sense. Right? Because he needed to be we didn't have submarines back then. We didn't have little things that can cocoon you. So it had to be a big fish that came along, a big, great idea that came along, picked him up, encapsulated him, and held him so that he could get a clue, have a transformation of his thoughts and his ideas. Y'all, maybe y'all don't need a transformation of your ideas. I don't know. But Jonah did at that time. Jonah needed to have a reckoning with himself. But the funny thing is, so wait a minute, let me just say. So the fish, he stays encapsulated in that big belly, and when he spit out in Nineveh, the place where he was supposed to go anyway. Right? Oh, it's so juicy when you think about this stuff, right? He spit out right where he's supposed to be. Now, you would think that as soon as you get out of it, you're running to go do what it is that you're supposed to do. But okay, he still didn't think that these people were going to be able to clean up their act. But he told them anyway. The Lord said, clean up your act so that you could be saved. He didn't think that they was going to do it. So, you know, they actually did. I don't know if y'all remember this story, but them people got their stuff together. They put on loincloth. They started, praying and doing all of this stuff. They was like, oh, no, we got to get our act together. And that's what they did. What did Jonah do? Jonah was pissed. God, you had me go through all of this and you're going to spare these people? So he goes and he going to go pout. Now, y'all, don't we pray that we have a forgiving heart? That like God, that we could be able to extend mercy to? That we could see the best in people and recognize that, that people truly are doing the best that they can with the light that they have to see by. Sometimes we don't do better because sometimes we don't know that we can do better. Sometimes there is this part of us that thinks that this is the way I've always done it. This is the way I've always been. Who am I to be different now? I mean, it's funny because I don't know about y'all, but sometimes as we come of age, we make peace with our ideas of ourselves, right? We make peace with, it's funny because we make peace with certain things. I remember, I got to digress. This girl, back when I was younger, she told me, she was like, oh, I have big legs too, but I would never wear that. I hope she's made peace. You know what I mean? Sometimes we're caught up in our judgments about ourselves, about the things that we like, the things that we love, and at a certain place, we gotta make peace. We've got to make peace with our own way of seeing the world as well. Y'all, let me tell you, we used to have movies called The Revenge of the Nerds, right? But guess who the tech giants are that's running things now? And they out to get you. We're in the belly of the beast when you start to think about that. It's in these places, in these moments where we recognize where we are, that we have to figure out what's the transformation in my thinking that needs to take place. And so sometimes what we're doing is we're holding up things that don't need to be held up. We judge and we value we value these things, these material things that's on earth without recognizing that there is a consciousness that needs transformation. A transformation of our values, the transformation of how we see things. But you know what the funny thing is that we give more value to the stuff that we see on TV and the commercials and the things that we measure ourselves by. and usually it's physical stuff. And yet we claim that our values are based on Christian principles. But I wonder if Jesus would be telling you about where he lived, or how much he has, or the cars that he drives. You know what I'm saying? We're supposed to be in a space where we are about love and happiness, right? We're supposed to be walking in a different way, and yet the transformation has not fully taken root, because what we see around us is something very different. When you look at the people and the things and the situations that we find ourselves in today, is that where you want to be? It's a question that we have to ask ourselves, because what we do, and when we're unconscious about it, is that we're modifying ourselves to fit into these things. We're going out, running out, trying to figure out. Sometimes I feel like we're playing the Game of Thrones, right? Trying to figure out how to be on top. And so I just wonder if that is what it's coming to, because we're warring against two things. We're warring against what we know we could do, what we ought to do, what we hear the voice of God telling us to do. And then that other thing that's over there saying, they don't deserve that. So Jonah was stuck in this space where he's sitting there and he's looking out and he's thinking to himself, these people done got themselves together, and he's mad about it. And so he goes and he sits, and so God makes this gourd grow up over him in order to shield him from the elements, from the sun. God is still loving on Jonah, and Jonah's still mad. And then when the gourd withers, y'all remember the story? He's sitting up there and he's like mad about that too. Where are we stuck? Where are we stuck? Are we allowing the transformation to take effect? We have these moments when, Jesus was in the tomb, Jonah was in a well. We have these moments when we're taken out of our regular and put into a place where we can contemplate thoughts. Sometimes that looks like a sickness. Sometimes it looks like something that makes us sit down on our butts and take an assessment of what it is that we're given. Sometimes that's what it looks like. We don't get fish coming along to swallow us now. But we do have these moments of reckoning that cause us to think about what it is that we're doing, what our values are. I don't know if you're in the belly of a whale moment. I don't know if you're in the midst of a storm. I don't know if you have been spit out on the other side and had this moment where you did exactly what it is that you're supposed to do, to go out and tell people that it's possible, right? That all things are possible, that this life that you would have, this life that you would love is possible for you. We go out and we deliver the message, and then what? Right? And then what? We sit up and we talk about this purpose, and we think that it's a stagnant thing, that we do it on a one and it's done, and then we don't have to do it anymore. But wonder if all of our steps are meant to be magical. Wonder if, as long as we live, that there is something for us to do. That at each step we take, there is another step to be taken. That you are the light, you are the sun, right? And you don't get to have this option of whether you're rising or not. It is incumbent upon you to be the light. That is what you do. You don't sit there and get caught up on, oh man, those clouds are blocking my path. You don't get caught up on whether or not you lost the job or your kids are doing what you asked them to do. You don't get caught, because you are the light. But when you're stuck in the well, you won't know that. When you're stuck in those cave moments, you won't know that. And so I'll tell y'all this quick little thing too. One of the things I used to do is I used to, when I find myself in a moment where I'm having a moment, it's almost like I do the moonwalk back into those moments, like I got to do a rewind. Y'all ever do this? Where did I lose my light? What did I do? What did I make a wrong turn? What did I not do? Show me, right? And I sit there and I go backtrack. Because most of the time, if I'm looking hard enough, I can find it. I can find where I didn't do what I was supposed to do. Maybe I was supposed to say, I love you. Maybe I was supposed to say, I'm sorry. Maybe I was supposed to say yes when I said no. Maybe it was something. And you know what? I got to have the courage to backtrack. Right? Jonah, he was thrown into the water. He got swallowed up. He got another chance. He got spit out. He got another chance. Y'all, we get another chance. We get another chance. So we don't have to sit back and just be like, how bad it is. We don't have to sit back and do all of that. We can be active participants in our own doggone lives. And we can paint a new picture. We can do something different. We can, because sometimes I'm driving down the street, I hear God whisper in my ear, tell them it's going to be all right, right? And what do? Do you pull off or do you know what, I got to make a U-turn right here, right? Let me go back and say what I was told to say. Or here I go, I'm good for this too, just yelling out at everybody, it's going to be all right. Everybody else I see, it's going to be all right. Right? Because sometimes people just need to hear something different. You are meant to shine your light. We are meant to do what it is that's in our hearts to do. And it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter whether we get madder for it. So if the only reason why you do something is for money or accolades or power or whatever you think, if that's the only reason that you do something, you playing too small. You're playing too small because all you're doing is playing for the moment. And what was that movie that says, what you do in this moment echoes in eternity? It really does. Stop playing small. There is but one power, one presence in our lives and in the universe. And it is working through you right here and right now. It's not up there in the sky, not stuck on this computer trying to, download some stuff into your algorithm. It is not that. It is in you right here and right now. You got to set it free. Set it free. Set it free. I love it. So let me think. Did I have anything else I wanted to say? You said one more thing. So, you know what? And the only thing that came up to me was, I'm off to see the wizard. So thank you, y'all. I hope and I trust that when you walk out of this place, that you have expanded beyond where you might have been before in consciousness. Knowing that you are the light. The flowers are beautiful out there too. Whew. Oh, my goodness. that you expand beyond this place, this moment, this time, knowing the truth about yourself. So whatever it is that is your light, whatever it is that is yours to do, that you do that. If it's spreading beauty, if it's spreading music, if it's spreading love, light, whatever it is, you begin to do and be that. Whatever that might mean. And stop worrying about how it looks. That's such a low level of consciousness. Stop worrying about that. Oh, what are they going to think? What are they going to say? What are they going to do? Who is they? There is but one power, one presence, in all, through all. And by your showing up as who you are, you give permission to other people to be who they are. That was out of Marianne Williamson, right? You give other people permission to be their full self. So if you don't see the blessing in that, man, you are blessed to be a blessing. Thank you. Man.